Under the bold leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso is shaking the foundations of global power with its unapologetic pursuit of sovereignty. In a historic move, Prime Minister Johan Emmanuel Ugo has announced that Burkina Faso will develop its first ever defense industry, a decisive step toward military self-sufficiency. "We have decided to develop a defense industry," declared Ugo, highlighting the Burkinabe Army's expertise in maintaining defense equipment. This announcement has sent shockwaves across Africa, not because it is unexpected, but because of the speed at which Captain Traoré is transforming the nation. Unlike leaders who make empty promises, Traoré is a man of action. If history is any indicator, in a matter of months, Burkina Faso will be producing its own weapons. For too long, African nations have been forced to beg for weapons to defend themselves, relying on foreign powers that dictate the terms of their survival. The same Western imperialists who have looted Africa's resources often block arms deliveries when African nations refuse to bow to their control. Burkina Faso, like its allies in Mali and Niger, has refused to kneel. Thankfully, nations like Russia, China, Turkey, and Iran have stepped in when the West tried to starve Burkina Faso's military of weapons. But relying on external suppliers is not true independence. A nation that cannot manufacture its own weapons will always be vulnerable to betrayal. Establishing a defense industry is not just about weapons, it is about sovereignty. This is why imperialists are desperate to encircle the alliance of Sahel states with military bases. They know that once Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger solidify their energy independence, especially with civil nuclear energy, the next step is full strategic autonomy. The imperialists have already anticipated this. They have been spying on Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, tracking their every move. They saw this coming decades ago, which is why they forced African leaders to sign the Pelindaba Treaty of 1996, prohibiting African nations from developing nuclear weapons. 51 African countries blindly signed this treaty, effectively surrendering their ability to defend themselves against global superpowers. The betrayal is there in black and white. The Alliance of Sahel States, AES, must pull out of this treaty when the time is right. Africa cannot win the war against imperialism without the ability to deter aggression. Imperialists do not respect weakness, they respect power. Some have questioned whether Captain Traoré can deliver on this ambitious vision. The real question, however, is how this defense industry will directly benefit the people of Burkina Faso. What are the next steps? To better understand this, we must analyze the situation in depth. But before we do, let us acknowledge the significance of this moment. For too long, African nations have been forced to bow before the altar of Western imperialism, their security tethered to the whims of foreign troops whose presence often serves as a thinly veiled mechanism of control. Burkina Faso, however, is charting a different course. Under Traoré's leadership, the nation is not only expelling the vestiges of colonial domination, most notably the French forces that once roamed its soil, but is now poised to build its own arsenal, a defense industry rooted in the resilience and resourcefulness of its people. This is no small feat for a landlocked nation battered by years of jihadist insurgency and humanitarian crisis. Yet, it is precisely in this crucible of adversity that Burkina Faso is forging a new identity, one that resonates with the Pan-Africanist ideals of self-determination, unity, and pride. Prime Minister Ugo's announcement is a clarion call to the Burkinabe people and their allies across Africa. Speaking from the capital, Ouagadougou, he outlined a vision that transcends mere rhetoric. The creation of a domestic defense industry capable of producing weapons, equipment, and technologies tailored to Burkina Faso's unique security needs. We will no longer beg for scraps from the tables of foreign powers, Ugo declared. Our sovereignty demands that we arm ourselves, protect ourselves, and determine our own destiny. This is the will of the people, and it is the path we shall walk. The significance of this development cannot be overstated. Burkina Faso has been locked in a brutal struggle against Islamist insurgents since 2015, a conflict that has claimed thousands of lives, displaced over 2 million citizens, and left vast swathes of the country beyond government control. For years, the nation relied on French military support, a partnership that proved both inadequate and infantilizing. The French troops stationed under the guise of counterterrorism failed to stem the tide of violence, while their presence fueled resentment among a population weary of foreign meddling. Captain Traoré, upon seizing power in a September 2022 coup, recognized this bitter truth and acted decisively, expelling French forces in February 2023 and turning instead to the strength of Burkina Faso's own people. The defense industry project is the logical next step in this journey toward emancipation. Rather than outsourcing its security to distant capitals, Burkina Faso is investing in its own capacity to produce arms and train its forces. This initiative promises to equip the Burkinabe military with locally manufactured rifles, drones, and armored vehicles, tools designed not in Western boardrooms, but in the heart of the Sahel by engineers and workers who understand the terrain and the stakes. It is a rejection of the colonial playbook, which insists that Africa must remain a perpetual consumer, never a creator. Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of this endeavor is how Captain Traoré intends to fund it. In a world where African nations are often ensnared by the debt traps of Western financial institutions or the conditional aid of former colonial powers, Burkina Faso is defiantly turning inward. Traoré, a 36-year-old military officer whose austere lifestyle and Marxist leanings echo the legacy of Thomas Sankara, has made it clear there will be no groveling before the IMF, no hasty bargains with Paris or Washington. Instead, the defense industry will be financed through the wealth of Burkina Faso itself, its gold, its land, and the sweat of its people. Burkina Faso is one of Africa's leading gold producers, a resource that has long been plundered by multinational corporations with little benefit trickling down to the masses. Under Traoré's leadership, the government has moved to reclaim control over this precious commodity. In November 2023, the Council of Ministers approved the construction of the country's first gold refinery, a project aimed at processing raw gold domestically rather than exporting it for others to profit. The revenue generated from this refinery, coupled with tightened regulations on foreign mining companies, will form the financial backbone of the defense industry. Our gold belongs to us, Traoré said in a recent address. It will build our future, not line the pockets of those who see Africa as a playground. Beyond gold, the government is mobilizing agricultural resources to bolster its economic base. Traoré's administration has prioritized food self-sufficiency, launching initiatives like the Operation Agro-Pastoral Offensive and the Presidential Initiative for Food Self-Sufficiency in 2023. These programs have already yielded nearly 6 million tons of cereal in 2024, a testament to the power of collective effort. By redirecting agricultural surpluses and taxing profiteers, the state is amassing the funds needed to sustain its military ambitions. Ministers and officials, including Traoré himself, have set an example by forgoing lavish salaries. Traoré retains only his captain's pay, while the National Solidarity Fund, bolstered by voluntary contributions, supports displaced citizens and frees up resources for national development. This model of self-reliance is a stinging rebuke to the neocolonial order. It proves that African nations need not kneel before foreign donors whose aid often comes with demands for privatization, austerity, or military bases. Burkina Faso's approach is a living testament to the Pan-Africanist principle that true liberation begins with economic sovereignty, a principle championed by luminaries like Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, and Thomas Sankara himself. The establishment of a defense industry is not merely a military endeavor, it is a lifeline for the people of Burkina Faso. First and foremost, it promises to enhance security in a nation ravaged by violence. The Burkinabe Armed Forces, alongside the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, a civilian militia Traoré has passionately defended, will gain access to equipment designed for their specific needs, from rugged vehicles suited to the Sahel's harsh landscape to drones capable of tracking insurgent movements. This will bolster their ability to reclaim territory, protect villages, and stem the tide of displacement, allowing millions to return to their homes. Beyond security, the economic ripple effects are profound. The defense industry will create jobs, thousands of them, for engineers, technicians, miners, and factory workers. In a country where unemployment and poverty fuel unrest, this infusion of opportunity could prove transformative. Young Burkina Faso, many of whom have known only war and deprivation, will find purpose in building the tools of their nation's defense. Local universities, already tasked with training a new generation of scientists and innovators, will expand their programs, fostering a skilled workforce that can compete on the global stage. Moreover, by keeping wealth within Burkina Faso's borders, the government can reinvest in education, healthcare, and infrastructure sectors long neglected under the weight of foreign debt and aid dependency. The gold refinery and agricultural initiatives are already laying the groundwork for this virtuous cycle, ensuring that the benefits of development reach the masses, not just an elite few. As Traoré has said, the fight we are waging today is also a fight for culture, for dignity, for the right to live as free men and women. This defense industry is a cornerstone of that vision, a tangible step toward a Burkina Faso where the people are not just survivors, but architects of their own destiny. Burkina Faso's example shines a harsh light on the cowardice and complacency of many African leaders who continue to cling to the skirts of Western militaries, from the French bases in Chad and Côte d'Ivoire to the American drones buzzing over Somalia and Nigeria. The continent remains a chessboard for foreign powers, its sovereignty betrayed for the illusion of security. These troops do not protect us, they perpetuate our weakness, ensuring that we remain clients rather than equals. Their presence is a reminder of the colonial past, a chain that binds us to a system designed to exploit, not empower. Captain Traoré understood this when he expelled the French, turning instead to partnerships with nations like Russia and Turkey, nations that, while not saints, offer cooperation without the baggage of colonial arrogance. Why then do so many leaders refuse to follow suit? Why do they cower behind NATO's shields, trembling at the thought of standing alone? The answer lies in a toxic mix of self-interest and indoctrination. Too many African heads of state have grown fat on the crumbs of foreign aid, their palaces built with loans that enslaved their people. They parrot the imperialist line, calling patriots like Traoré militias or dictators while ignoring the barbarity of their own dependents. At the Russia-Africa Summit in 2023, Traoré delivered a blistering rebuke to such leaders. African heads of state must stop acting like marionettes who dance each time the imperialists pull on our strings. His words should haunt every president and prime minister who still welcomes Western boots on African soil. The presence of foreign troops does not bring peace, it breeds resentment and instability. In Burkina Faso, French forces failed to halt the insurgency, yet their departure has galvanized a national awakening. Across the continent, from Mali to the Central African Republic, nations that have rejected Western military dominance are rediscovering their strength. African leaders must heed this lesson. Our security cannot be outsourced. It must be built from within, with our own hands, our own resources, and our own resolve. Burkina Faso's journey is far from complete. The road to military self-sufficiency will be fraught with challenges, technical, financial, and geopolitical. The jihadist threat remains a formidable foe, and the nation's infrastructure must catch up to its ambitions. Yet, under Traoré and Ugo's leadership, Burkina Faso is proving that the impossible is merely a matter of will. This is not just a Burkina story, it is a Pan-African one, a rallying cry for a continent that has too long been told it cannot stand on its own. As the sun sets over the Sahel, casting golden hues on a land scarred but unbowed Burkina Faso emerges as a beacon of hope. Its defense industry is more than a factory. It is a symbol of what Africa can achieve when it dares to dream beyond the confines of colonial scripts. Let the leaders of this continent take note. The time for begging is over. The time for building has begun. And in Burkina Faso, the people are showing us how it's done.